We have 24 hours to go for Wuyang's gameplay test, and for possibly the first time since, I guess, Sigma's release, I'm throwing my hat into the ring with, well, actual excitement for a hero concept with very little caveats. This is my unfiltered first take on the hero, and I really hope I'm right.
Water college? But that breaks the family streak.
I don't know how this got leaked on survey, so that's a character, that's the profile, this is the kit, there's the perks, and yeah, there's a perk preview on there as well. So first off, stat, firing damaging water orb, hold to control its trajectory and empower its explosion. Now there's a lot of speculation on what this is. I feel like this is the most core part of the hero that we don't know right now. We don't know what this is gonna be. The perks over here imply that there can be 3 water orbs alive at the same time. I have no idea how that can work. If you're firing, left click to fire, hold to control its trajectory. So you can fire 3 orbs at the same time and then control the trajectory later. Do you have to click 3 times to fire them and then hold in order to control them? Can you control 3 at once? Is this just like one singular orb and that one splits it into 3 and kind of like pulls them together? Primary fire sounds like Terraria, magic missile. Well, there's a load of things in game at the moment. Jet smokes from Valorant, right? The way that they arc. Straight up, and then you can bend it. So essentially you can throw it and then move it afterwards. You tap it or hold it to curve? Yeah, it seems like it could be that. I'm not 100%. This is the most question mark thing of the kit, and this is actually what they were hyping up most about the kit, wasn't it? Secondary, place a passive healing stream on an ally, hold on the target to manually heal at an improved rate. So we're thinking Harmony Orb. We're thinking, how far away does a healing stream have to be before it locks off? How close do you have to be to the character? We're thinking, do you have to be on that angle? Do you have to be far away from that angle? When you right click to use your resource to use it at an improved rate, because it appears to have a resource to it, how much does it use? How much does it heal for? Is that good enough to hold up a tank, which is like 80 HPS? Is that good enough just to be able to hold up a support? If damage is not very high, it's a grief to even hold it. Yeah, it might have a cooldown that's long. It might have a 5-second cooldown on each orb, and you may as well hold it, right? Mercy Beam with Iliari resource could be very easily. So it looks like, well, there's one version you can create, right? 30 HPS when you tap it onto them, like Harmony Orb, goes up to 80 HPS when you hold it on them. That's a version you can create of this hero. You can only have one up though. You can only have one up. So do we heal on main or do we pocket on an angle? If we can only heal one person, that's going to go one of 2 ways, right? It's going to be we pocket the main tank or we pocket a DPS on an angle for the most part, isn't it? That's basically how this is going to be used. So a couple of questions about that, honestly. Off-angling support, well, obviously Overwatch 2 off-angling support is going to be the default because that's what they create anymore, but you know. Guardian Wave, send a water wave forward that increases the amount of healing received by allies and knocks back enemies. So this is going to depend a lot on cooldown. If we push the enemy team back, that's really good for peel, obviously. If we heal our team and maybe it looks like we're amping them the same way as Annonade, can we just combine that with the stream in order to really pocket a tank when they're going in? The big burst ability in the kit. When there's a big burst ability in the kit, can that be used aggressively or will that be used for denial? A lot of questions in that one. Yeah, it's Harbor Wall. It does seem a little bit like Harbor Wall, doesn't it? Maybe it's a little bit of a smoke at the same time. A knockback to keep your ally safe on the angle? Yes. So if you were on Wuyang and you were playing with an Ashe and an enemy jumps at you, would you Guardian Wave them to push off the enemy? It seems like peel, doesn't it, for the most part? Rushing Torrent, ride water to move faster and jump higher. So that seems like a movement buff that you turn on. That is like generically, I've turned into a flowy mode. Unclear whether you're able to do things at the same time as this. And that's basically it. Only thing left is the ult. Detect an ally or yourself with water that detonates after a short duration. The explosion knocks back down enemies and massively heals the host target. Okay, so I find this exciting. I don't know if anyone else finds this exciting, because this is one that I've been asking for fucking ages, but as an ability instead of an ultimate. It's a bit shame that it's an ultimate. I've been asking for a buff that goes on a Winston as he jumps in order to be able to AoE once they get in. That sort of stuff. So it looks like you put it on the Winston jumps in, they all blow up and get knocked down. That sounds fun, honestly. Can you tell me your thumbs up or down for the character so far? I think most of it depends on numbers. The primary, it's a little bit speculative how that works in terms of numbers. There's not enough information to tell the primary. The secondary has a couple of different ways it can work, but for the most part, it's going to be off-angle pocketing. This is peel. for the most part. Looks like it's going to be hard to use it aggressively unless it's with a tank's aggressive push. Even then, you're knocking back enemies, so hopefully you don't hit them. And then this is just mobility. So Tidal Blast is probably the most interesting ability I've seen in the game for a while. That's my personal thing. It's such a shame it's an ultimate. I'm so unhappy that it's an ultimate, but it seems interesting. Character design? It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. I think so much of character design goes around theming and sound and visuals as they flow in the game. You can't tell shit from this, I'm going to be honest. You can't tell anything. It is what it is. I mean, sure, it looks generic. It's got a good silhouette, though. And a good silhouette plus water theming might be good enough to really, like, bring the character out. I think a lot of characters look very flat when they first get released. And sure, the face looks generic. Is what it is. So immediately, someone appears to have posted that directly to top character designs. Hated design. Wuyang, new character from Overwatch 2. Overwatch Design's always had some interesting ideas put in design, but this guy looks really generic. Very simple black haircut, face looking very random like an NPC. Wears some basic streetwear clothes and simple sneakers. He has these Chinese details to make sure he is from, but it's also giving generic monk robe vibes, which I don't really like. Weapon is bow staff, so not really that original. But overall, I don't really vibe with him. Anyway, yeah, 1.9k upvotes. So this is actually like trending quite well on this one. Yeah, I feel like this is what we've had ever since Life Weaver. Every single time a character has been revealed, people seem to collectively lose their shit for no reason whatsoever, and then a couple of months later, everyone thinks, oh yeah, that of course that fits in the art style. The art style was always very silly and goofy. Generic? I mean, like, sure. I mean, like, he's got a good stance, he's got a good silhouette, the staff gives him a good silhouette. So, like, in terms of his actual readability, like, this is perfect in terms of design. Don't know if anyone disagrees with that, if there's a character with a similar silhouette to this. I mean, you could say Anna, but he's got a bloody staff on him at all times, so it's a big part of the silhouette as well. His 2D art looks so expressive. I think this happens every time they translate a hero. It happened with all the skins that they were translating over. They never get over 1-to-1. I feel like everything always feels airbrushed once it gets into Overwatch. I think it's just a result of their engine. You could cough replace him with Iron Fist, I would not be able to tell. I don't think it's that bad. There were some funny posts on here though. Finally, I can fulfill my dream of playing as John Overwatch. That's not John, that's Yong. Yeah, the face concept is obviously incredibly stylized there, but realistically, is it that much different? This was a good one. Is this good design change? Cool little fox guy, cool Shinto-themed samurai girl, Overwatch design number X. more generic over time. Yeah, I don't think it's true. I think this character looks absolutely fine, completely consistent with the style. Yeah, like, it's not nearly as cool as Ram, but I mean, you gotta have a couple of humans in your kit. I am a little bit frustrated at the team for not creating some crazy, wacky things, but I'm really more frustrated in terms of design than in, gameplay design than in terms of hero design. I think that hero design has been pretty much on point for ages. We got to get Ram out this fucking game and put it in the hands of someone who cares. How do you make something look more like a Fortnite skin than actual Fortnite skins do? Sales dipping make a Chinese character or expansion? Yeah, I mean, they do have to, I don't doubt that they're catering to the Chinese audience by releasing another Chinese character, no doubt, but yeah. Human Genji. Okay, that's it. No, Human Genji has stupid eyebrows, so it's different, right? It's just generic male face that's been airbrushed by the Overwatch art style syndrome. And we don't even know what the character feels like in game, or like the feeling of a character is so much about audio design as well, and you can't really tell that now. So yeah, I'm generically on the fence about this. I don't think the character's badly designed in any way. I think he's easy to clown on though. Blizzard kind of screwed up by making him so easy to clown on, but it was leaked, so like he was intended to be announced with all of the abilities and sound design. A lot of rushing water, I'm gonna assume, comes along with this guy, but yeah. Man, the Overwatch hate just never ceases, does it? It's just constant. So the perks can tell us a bit though. Okay, so here's the perks. So gain 10 arrow and 33% healing resource and rushing torrent is activated. So that shows us that the primary here is ammo based with over 10. So possibly are we holding, is it instantly casting? Because it seems like a 10 extra is a lot of extra ammo, right? For the primary, don't you think? That's a lot of extra ammo to put into a primary. 33% healing resource tells us that this one is holding the target to manually heal, but that's going to consume the resource, so that's basically knitting yourself together. So say I'm going to press shift and, oh wait, it's when it's activated. So this is clearly a cooldown. And if that's really a cooldown, then this is basically a pseudo reload at the same time as using your movement abilities. Interesting. 10 ammo, 30% healing resources tells me, or at least implies to me, that the ammo is going to be like 20, right? Or 30, right? The total ammo. Because it's going to be approximately in proportion to the healing resource, right? Approximately, surely. So it's telling us about the ammo in the staff. Activated feels like an intentional difference between active. Yeah, it does feel like it. So this is probably an enhancement cooldown that buffs you. It's a lot of ammo, but you use more of it if you charge. Yes, so are you using more ammo by controlling the trajectory? Could you charge the orb? Is the orb like getting bigger over time as you use the ammo, kind of like a May right click kind of thing? That's a couple of questions there. When you deal damage with water orbs, increase restorative healing streams passive healing by 40% for 2 seconds. Doesn't tell us anything, I'm going to be honest, just tell us that it's got passive healing. We already knew that. 40% is reasonable, but yeah. I think it's a sim orb. Very hard to tell. Yeah, sim orb would be the analogy there. But it does say hold to control its trajectory. Doesn't say whether it can be held to charge before that, right? It's not clear whether it would say that. So ebb and flow, Guardian Wave rewinds to its starting location, deals 50% decreased damage while rewinding. So you basically double up on your wave. So your wave's going to go out, then your wave's going to come back. Questions there? How far does wave go out? What is the bonus of it coming back? Is that just a complete turn off in terms of peel? Can you just turn off enemies by pulling them back in as well? Is that one of those that you're going to use on the enemy tank? Knocking them back in? Yeah. That's really interesting. Does less damage, so it's not OP. The damage is clearly purposely there because double hitting them with it would be quite a bit, so that's clearly doing a reasonable amount of damage. Interesting that they don't mention the damage in the Guardian Wave, so it does damage to enemies and heals allies. Didn't mention the damage. That tells us that definitely doing damage at the same time. Sad it returns to the original location, not back to you. It'd been really cool to have a boomerang with the mobility. Yeah, that would be really cool, 100%. Falling Rain. Simultaneously control 3 water orbs that deal 60% decreased damage and have a 25% decrease in powered explosion radius. So, empowered explosion radius is a word that we've got here. What does that mean? So what does the 3 water orbs mean to start with? Okay, so are we tripling up on this? Is it like instead of throwing 1 orb that we can control, we're throwing 3 orbs like this that all home in on there? Like that? Is that it? 60% decreased damage, right? So we're doing 40% with each one. So it's doing extra damage if we're able to hit them all. So it's clearly less likely to be hit with all 3 orbs because it's doing it's doing more damage overall if we're able to hit everything, right? 25 decreased empowered explosion radius. There's an empower? How do you do the empower? That's empower its explosion there. How much extra damage does it do? Does it do extra damage on the empower? Or is it just makes it bigger? Right? Less likely to hit all, but more likely to hit at least one. Yeah, 100%. It looks like it. Yeah. This is the scrub thing. Another interesting thing here. These two clearly synergize, right? When you deal damage, control 3, because you can hit them with an orb more often if you're going to throw 3 at the enemy, right? You're always going to be hit more often. Anyway, there was this Reddit comment that I found quite funny that I'll just bring up. Star, fire a damaging water orb, hold to control its trajectory and power its explosion. Shoot orb, control with mouse until it collides. Sure, why not? Stream, give like Zen, and go separate ways, or give bonus healing but use resource. I'm knocked back. I receive more heals. Brilliant. Feels like Brig but with more mobility. It does, doesn't it? It depends on Guardian Wave's cooldown, I guess. If they say your Guardian Wave cooldown is 13 seconds, I'll be like, well, it's not like Brig. If they say it's like 8 seconds, I'd say, whoa, we got a peel contender here. It seems like no, I won't finish that one. Ride water to move faster and jump higher. Might use resource. It doesn't use a resource. It's an ability. You read the perks. Total blast. Protect myself. Protect an ally. Use movement to initiate. Teammate dies and gets bonus value. Yeah, 100%. Okay, so coming back to what we talked about earlier, right? The ways that you design heroes, right? Do you think this hero has been rooted in theming? Do you think this hero has been rooted in design space, or do you think this hero has been rooted in a core concept that they want to optimize as an ability? Where do you think it comes from? How do you think they developed this? Because I see this that they're really happy about, right? Sorry, I've got a double arrow on screen. I see this staff thing here. They're so happy about that staff, right? They are convinced that this is the best thing since sliced bread. They've been 100% like repping the staff since launch. They first started talking about it, right? Water theme, 100%. Yeah, of course, water theme. That's on the whiteboard somewhere, but that's not really a root of a concept. Being a monkey is a root of a concept, right? That's a root of a theme. But a water theme? That doesn't really mean anything necessarily. Why did they give him a staff instead of making him a waterbender? Yeah, so in case Avatar comes knocking. Feels like they mixed Anna and Mercy and gave it water projectiles. Worst case scenario here, guys. Worst case scenario, there is no core. That's the worst case scenario. If you don't have a design space to work around, and you don't have a core design element to work around, and you don't have a strong theme that you base this on, what can happen is you end up with a load of shit that doesn't knit together. That's a worst case scenario. I'm looking at this and I think this hopefully is an off-angle controller healer. This hopefully is an off-angle controller healer, right? We hope that this guy goes off on angles, fights the angles with his staff, does AoE into the backline with his left click, heals somebody on an angle, or focus heals the tank and has that choice to swap off the angle to focus heal the tank. We hope that this wave is used to peel and slash or push the tank in. That seems like how it flows, but this could not work together. Depends on Rushing Torrent. Well, Rushing Torrent, worst case scenario is the Guardian Wave is awful and the hero is just a Rainbot. I'm really worried that Guardian Wave here will not be strong enough in terms of a knockback to be peel, or it will have too long of a cooldown to use it exclusively as peel, or it won't matter the peel. I'm worried that the knockback is be too strong. I'm concerned that divers, maybe this is just the ultimate peel tool. Maybe that's it. If it isn't like Kiri TP Moira Fade, you can't stay on the angle. It's a really important one, yeah. That's a really important one there. This is core to the kit, because the better your mobility is, the more safely you can take angles and stay on those angles. But we have the Guardian Wave that's going to root in for that. If we have the Guardian Wave up, we're going to be able to be pretty much infinitely pushing into those angles. Another point here, it probably comes with some healing, right? It probably comes with some healing. Does that healing apply to you when you press the ability? Question. Really good question, right? It probably comes with a burst, like Ananade. DPS is good enough, then it's like Zen staying power on an angle. Yeah. It looks like, and here's it. It looks a bit like Ash in terms of how it works. It looks a bit like I root myself in an angle and then I'm very strong in the angle because I can push people away from that angle at the same time as rooting myself in. That's what it looks like to me. Yeah, if it doesn't apply to you, it might be rough. Might be. We'll see. In general, incredibly healthy for 6v6. Looks real damn good for 6v6. This I am interested and excited by. I think this is a good concept for a healing thing. Having to choose between having it passively on an angle or actively on main. Hopefully these two knit together and you don't feel like there's an infinite amount of downtime between your orbs if you're not right clicking. This wave is fine, but a little bit concerning. Obviously, we've had things like this in World of Warcraft, the Druid pushback ability. There's loads of abilities like this. You can compare it to Harbor, you can compare it to a load of different things. This has been explored quite a bit, and it can be a little bit problematic, so we'll see. Rushing Torrent is a bit of a question mark. Tidal Blast looks amazing for 6. Absolutely incredible for 6v6. I'm excited. I'm genuinely excited for a hero for first time in a very long time, and I don't see how it could be overly problematic. There's no red flag here, aside from the fact that this might not knit together, right? If it's got the range of harmony, it's great. Yeah, 100%. The range of passive healing is something we need to know. That's gonna change the use case quite badly. If it's lower though, maybe you just go on the angle with them. Maybe that's better. Basically exactly what I expected, except I expected him to be a pseudo melee support with a staff. Yeah, the staff's not really doing anything, is it, apart from making water orbs? So my one concern is exactly where rooted this kit, right? Where did the kit get rooted from? That's the one concern. I don't know where. Hopefully it's from a good place. Yeah, maybe look at it more like a wizard staff and ignore the martial art theme. Yeah. Well, it's not clear there is a martial art theme, apart from generically monk-themed stuff and being ripped. I guess the staff is quite martial art themed. Can't put a quarter self on someone without it being. He's athletic, I guess. Spylo physique, question mark? Probably just because I love Overwatch support. Support and tank are the things I'm always excited for. DPS is so boring to me in terms of the design space. I don't know if anyone else agrees. I think the idea of this is cool new design space for support. AoE damage. That's something nobody has. Tell me somebody else that has AoE orb damage. Or AoE explosion damage in the support category. It's basically nobody. Tell me, well, this is a nice combination of Mercy's staff and possibly Kiriko's healing and Zen's orb. That's cool. We need a better exploration of Zen's orb. Zen's orb haven't been explored properly or like at all. Where is orb? Yeah, Ilariel. It's ults and abilities. It's not primary. It's a bit different. And you don't use Moira orb for AoE anyway. This looks like something you might target for an AoE. This is new design space. This is something to tie it together. It's looking hopeful, man.